All right. Can let some people get in here real quick. I usually don't do two of these in one day, but with the new developments, I've got some stuff that I got to address. Yeah. What's up, Tone Disease? How you doing? How's your night? Hope everybody's having a good night. And just gonna weigh in a little bit. This won't be too long. Just gonna wait a few more minutes. Come on in. Today was an interesting day. See Terrell Oates in there. What's up, my brother? Black Khaleesi. Nice to see you. All right. Josh C. Lewis. Okay. You can't wait to hear this. Oh man. I think I'm having way too much fun with this, guys. I mean, it's 2020. So I mean, what can we say? Everything is stupid. So yeah, this is gonna be great. What's up, Mackenzie Kelly? I see you. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So so news broke earlier today that the whole news thing with the NASCAR stuff wasn't what it seemed to be. It wasn't what they thought it was at first. So just give a really quick recap, because I'm sure most of you already know this story and what happened. A few days ago, NASCAR reported that somebody had left a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. Bubba Wallace is obviously a black NASCAR driver, and there's been a lot of tension in NASCAR right now, especially with what's happened with George Floyd, and Bubba Wallace led the charge to have the Confederate flag removed from NASCAR. So not only that, but he also was wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, an I Can't Breathe shirt to support George Floyd. Also had his car painted with Black Lives Matter on it. So obviously the man is pretty woke. I don't know where he leans politically. I mean, probably on the left, but at the same time, I mean, there are black folks who are more conservative who aren't afraid to say, Black Lives Matter. I happen to be one of them. And not all conservatives are on board with the Confederate flag. So again, I'm not sure if he's a woke leftist or if he's somewhere in the middle, or where he falls on that. But basically, they found what they thought was a noose, and NASCAR basically contacted Bubba to let him know what happened. Again, Bubba did not report the noose. He was not the one who found it. He was not the one who reported on it. It was told to him. They told him, "Hey, guess what? We found this in your garage, and we're going to investigate, see what's going on. Somebody, it looks like one of our people might have committed a hate crime or whatever." They did acknowledge that it wasn't members of his team that did it. It was obviously somebody else, according to what they thought. Basically, it was discovered by somebody who wasn't on his team. So there's a big hoopla over it. The other NASCAR drivers showed solidarity with him. He did do an appearance on The View, where he did admit that he hadn't actually seen the news. He was just told about it. So it sounds to me like he was just kind of going along with what they were saying. So we get the news today. The FBI investigated, and there's no charges. They found no evidence that it was a noose meant to intimidate him. It was just a rope that you pulled the garage down with. And that's what they found with their investigation and by talking to people. Now, before this happened, I'm going to tell you what both sides wanted to happen here. And when I'm talking about both sides, I'm talking about the fringes on the right and the fringes on the left. Not the regular, ordinary people like you and I, not regular folks on the right or regular folks who lean left. These are the fringes, because remember, the media on both sides and pundits on both sides are here to push a narrative, and they're here to divide us. Whether they know it or not, they're here to divide us. So on the left, what they wanted to happen was for somebody to get caught. They wanted somebody to have been guilty of perpetuating this horrible hate crime. So that's what they want to, and that's obvious, right? Because they want to race bait. They want to drive the notion that America's just the most racist country in the world, and everybody's horrible. And look what they did to this poor black man. That's what the left wanted, the fringes. On the right, they were hoping to God that this was a hoax. Not that it just turned out to not be true. They needed it to be a hoax. They wanted another Jussie Smollett. That's what they want. They wanted to be able to tell the nation that we've been molested again by another hate crime hoaxer. Getting a call. Okay, right. So that's basically what happened there. The fringes on the right, they really wanted a good hoax that they can sink their teeth into and use it to attack the left and say, hey, this guy just made the whole thing up again. These black celebrities are out of control. They just hoax all over the place. Racism doesn't exist, except in the Democratic Party and in the KKK. That's it. Now, did either side get what they wanted out of this? The fringes I'm talking about, not regular folks. Did either side get what they wanted? No. This was a very interesting case, and I kind of thought it was going to come out this way based on the information that we had, especially the fact that it wasn't Wallace himself who reported this and then went out, whining about it. Now, he did make an appearance on The View, like I said, and he did talk about it, and he posted a few tweets. But other than that, he wasn't quite as dramatic as Jussie Smollett was. But he was playing it up, because he thought that this happened. At least that's what the evidence shows. There's currently no evidence showing that Wallace knew that this wasn't really a hate crime type of deal. For all I know, and from what the evidence shows, he believed it himself. So neither side got what they wanted here. And basically, what's going to happen, here's what we're going to see. On the left, maybe one or two more days, then they're done with it. They're not going to talk about it because there was nothing there. So what they'll probably do, they'll just report, oh, it ended up not being a hate hoax, but they're still going to woke explain to us. They're going to be like, this may not have been a real hate crime, but there's still racism in America and everybody's still racist. And I'm sure Bubba has gotten some racist messages. So yeah, even though there wasn't a noose to intimidate him, there's still racism in America and we're just horrible. So that's what they're going to do, and then they're going to stop. That's my prediction. 1 or 2 more days tops. Then they're never going to mention this again. Now, on the right, if you guys saw me tweeting earlier, I called it. I predicted it. Now that this has come out, the fringe right is still going to make this sound like a Jussie Smollett situation, despite the lack of evidence, and it's already started. Now, they're not out there saying, okay, well, nothing happened, but maybe it wasn't a hoax. Maybe people just got stupid. Because I do think that there's some fair criticism that we can make about Bubba Wallace and NASCAR. And it's like that saying goes, don't attribute to malice what can more easily be attributed to incompetence. And I think that there was some stupidity going on here. I think that they could have Wallace could have probably investigated this a little bit more. He hadn't seen the news. NASCAR could have handled this better. Everybody could have handled this better. But I don't think that they intentionally pulled off a hoax. And the reason why is because the FBI hasn't charged anybody. And the FBI can charge people for doing this. And if you look at Jussie Smollett, he's still facing federal charges, right? He's not just facing charges at the local level. So they haven't made any charges either way. So the right is still going to jump on this and say that he did this on purpose or that he went along with it on purpose because they need another Smollett. But remember, they're not going to be telling you the truth. They're going to be lying to you, basically. So that's what I expect to see. And I expect for them to hold on to this for as long as they can. They're going to milk it. You can expect to see some of the black conservative establishment come out and lambaste Bubba Wallace for having become another Jussie Smollett and participated in this hoax. So it's really going to take people on the right that are willing to call it out and say, hey, there's no evidence that he actually knew that this wasn't true. So basically, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I got written down here. Yeah, so there's no evidence again that this was a deliberate hoax, that they were deliberately trying to deceive people. It just seems like it seems more like a situation where they jumped the gun. People were in their emotions. Racial tensions are already at a fever pitch right now, and they acted stupidly. So I'm not going to defend them. I'm not going to defend the mistake that they made, but I do believe that it was a mistake. It was probably some people who wandered into the garage, maybe people who didn't really know what was going on. They thought it was a noose. They went to NASCAR's leadership, and then they told Wallace, "Hey, this happened, but we've got this, whatever." And Wallace trusted what they said without really questioning, and went along with it. Now, were these people lying? There's no evidence of that. And again, if there were, the FBI would have unraveled that by now. Because pulling off a hoax like this, it requires a lot of lies to keep it together. And when you've got the FBI investigating it, I mean, they're going to find it. I know we like to bash the FBI because of Trump, but the majority of the FBI, they are competent. They know what they're doing. So that's what we can expect to see. And it'll be interesting how this plays out. I don't think that Bubba Wallace has made a statement yet. I'm not sure if he will. I don't know if he'll apologize or if he'll just say, they got it wrong, or if he'll try to clean it up. Whatever. I mean, I'll react when that happens. But based on the information that we have right now, and this could change, and if more information comes out that suggests something else, then I will change my mind based on new information. But right now, all this looks like was people overreacting, making assumptions, and not stopping to breathe for a second to really take a look and see if this situation was what they thought it was. So yeah, so that's pretty much all that I have to say here. Let's see. I'll actually answer some comments. I never do this. Black Police, I don't like the way NASCAR handled this at all. I don't either. Now, do I think that they were sincere? Probably. I think that they really thought that something was going on here, but again, you can't get in your emotions about this stuff. I understand that racial tensions are high, but you got to hold on for a second. And like I said in my early video, you got to wait for some more information. Because right now, like I said, on the right, they're still going to use this, and they gave the right an opening. So just like the left is going to say, oh, well, it's still racist, even though this wasn't really a thing, the right's going to be like, yeah, I knew that guy was lying. I knew that this was a hoax. I knew he was no Justice Smollett. Now, again, no evidence, but this is what we have to deal with right now. And I do blame NASCAR for it. And I do blame Wallace for it too, because he should have stepped back and said, okay, so what exactly did you find? Or what's going on here? He should have at least wanted to see the news. I would have. If that happened with me, I'd be like, no, I want to see here. I want to see that. What happened? I want to make sure you guys are on this. But I also want to make sure you guys are right. Let's see. Shiny, I can't pronounce the rest of that. Shiny, I wish everyone would wait for information on everything. Yep, that's exactly what should have happened here. And it didn't, unfortunately. Trisha, what's up, sis? Trisha, there are already some people saying that, basically what I was saying before about how this is just another Smollett situation. No, it's not. The evidence does not show that we've been molested again. Again, it appears to have just been a huge misunderstanding because people were stupid. They were being stupid. Let's see. None of them should have said anything until they had all the info on it, of course. I mean, in most of these cases, that is the appropriate response. And even after I tweeted what I did yesterday about a lot of conservatives wanting for this to be another Smollett, I tweeted after that, I don't know what happened. I'm going to wait for the information before I form an opinion. There might be situations where you already kind of have the information that you need when it comes to video footage of violence by police officers or by other people. But in this situation, the appropriate response was to just hold on and see what happens. But a lot of people didn't do that. And you can tell who the Sesame Streeters were on both sides, because these are the ones that were calling it right when the news broke that there was a noose in the garage. The people that just jumped on it and said, oh, it's a Smollett. The left said, oh, it's racism. Those were the Sesame Streeters in this equation. And at this point, it's going to be too much cognitive dissonance for them to admit that they were wrong. So they're going to keep going with it. Let's see. Tone Disease says they will push the racism. They will push the racism is so non-existent America talking point on this BS. Yeah, yeah, they will, because there's no such thing as racism unless it's in the Democratic Party or in the KKK. That's it. Now, I will concede this point though. A lot of these hate crimes that we see make the news, most of them are fake. Now, I'm not saying most claims of hate crimes are fake, because there are hate crimes that happen that never make the news that we don't even know about. The FBI has the data on it, so there are plenty of legitimate hate crimes that happen. But these ones that hit the news and ones that get a lot of attention in the corporate press, they tend to be fake. I've written on several of these. So I do understand being being skeptical, because I was too. That's why I didn't just automatically say, oh, this isn't a hoax or this is a hoax. So I do understand why people might jump to that conclusion, because it happens so often. Let's see. Do I have any more comments? I think so. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. I'm going to go get myself some dinner. And when I get home, I'll be back in the Twitter sphere. So you guys have a lovely, lovely night.